Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to episode 35 of the Guardian Hub podcast, where we talk Destiny and our experiences in the game. We spotlight different guests and communities and our place to talk about experiences we've had in the game. This is Kingsley Mack and Sin. How are you doing tonight, Sin?
It's tonight. It's definitely tonight. I'm well. How about you, sir?
In general, I'm
this week.
Good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely awesome.
Not working too hard or working too hard?
Too hard. Definitely too hard. Too much too. It's not really the hard part, as it is time consuming and a lot of time involved.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on that $1 million sugar mama.
We've put out a request. Hopefully someone can get the word out and spread that around.
One of these days.
How does your wife feel about that?
I'm sure if she shared in the money, she probably would be okay with it.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I kind of feel like my wife would joke about that too. Be like, well, if we're getting lots of money.
Yeah, might as well. That's what they're there for.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, we're glad to be here another week, and we're glad to have a great guest. This week, we have a great community member that we've known for quite a while, played with in the game, and we have AR. How you doing, man?
Doing great. How are you guys tonight?
Man, we are great. We're so glad to have you on.
I'm glad to be here. This is really exciting.
You better be. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we've played with you for a while. I'm trying to think where back, probably from, I would assume, Destiny Reset, just through some group ups. Does that seem right?
Yeah. I think we met about a year ago, I want to say, just about Christmas time.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of that great meeting place. Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, I want to ask you a couple questions, and then we'll move on to things we're doing in the game and anything else we want to talk about tonight. But tell us about your gamer tag. If you might have told us before, I mean, we just call you AR, but any meaning to your gamer tag? The full part with numbers and letters?
Yeah, so as I was about to go to college, so I got a PlayStation and stuff, and then I was like, I'm going to Ferris State, so that's what the FSU is at the end. And then I don't know why I thought I needed to have that identification on the end of my gamer tag, so it's always just stuck. And then AR is my first initial and middle initial, and then 16 is my favorite number. So,
okay, gotcha.
But AR is fine.
Yeah. I mean, I did my initials for a while too, and a lot of people do that. Send those are your initials, right? CYN.
Yeah, that's a negative.
Yeah, I know your first name, so it's not your initials.
Yeah, there's something weird about people knowing my name. Some people don't care. Like, I've always, like, when gaming, I've always kept it to, like, just gamer tags for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I think back when I was, like, listening to Professor Broman, having, I guess there's a reason being it. You want that protection, and it goes back to those old stories of people swatting other people because they know where they live. Like, yeah, I'm not into that. I got kids. I can't have to worry about that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand. It was kind of weird. So, like, it took me a long time before I actually, decided to approach people in the Discord and stuff. And, me and my brother-in-law were like, yeah, we're going to do a raid. And then we're like, hey, what's your name? And then they just, rattle off their, username. And we're like, oh, we're such and such. And it was just kind of weird. Like, we weren't used to that aspect of gaming yet. So that was a hard adjustment at first.
Yeah, and then if someone just by their gamer tag forever, and then you learn their real name, you're like, maybe I'll just call you your gamer tag still, because I don't know you by your name very well.
This whole PlayStation switching, allowing people to switch up their gamer tags also throws me off too, because I'm like, oh yeah, you used to be this name and now you're something else, and I don't associate that person with that name anymore,
Yeah, very true. Would you ever consider changing anything, or are you perfectly fine with your name?
I think I'm fine with it just because it's, I've had it for so long that I'm just like, it, I don't
Yeah.
know. It doesn't bother me.
Oh, makes sense. Makes sense. I kind of was wondering if I was going to change mine, but I was geeking out about the ability to do that, so that's why I finally did.
Yeah.
I changed mine, but mine was not much different.
True.
I just made all mine more consistent.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like I get that from like a streamer's aspect because I know you guys stream too, and you got the podcast and um, the clan and stuff. So it's just trying to make sure that everybody can find you on the same platform as well. So that makes total sense.
Yeah. Well, before we talk about what got you into Destiny, what other interesting experiences have you had with gaming growing up? Like, you can tell us like how you got started, or just an interesting story or something weird. Just go for it, however you want.
Um, well, so one year, my parents decided to get us an Xbox, and so I just started playing that, and I was drawn into Star Wars games and such. So I mainly played that stuff. Didn't play online at all. I was just kind of playing on my own. So that's kind of really how I got into gaming. And then I don't even know why I switched from Xbox to PlayStation 3, but I made that hop. It was probably because of the free service, because you could
Ah.
play online for free, which that backfired for like one whole summer because they had all the hacker issues and stuff. But um, but yeah, no, like I was big into single player games, like mainly Star Wars. Um, Played a lot of FIFA. Still play a lot of FIFA. Um, Used to only play FIFA, but yeah, but
Yeah, I've
no,
seen you playing that game online before, so it's still one that's going. The FIFA and Star Wars. What do you remember? What any of the names were of the Star Wars games that you or ones that you liked a lot?
yeah. So I liked Republic Commando. That was a fun game. I played. There was like this one story mission at the end of the game that I played over and over and over again. Never got old for me. I love the Jedi Academy game. Um, I know people are big into the Knights of the Old Republic. I didn't really get into that as much, but I liked Battlefront.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so those those were kind of some of the games that I played quite a bit.
I like the games where you get to do a variety of things, but I definitely like the ones where at least some aspect of the game is heavy on flying the ships.
Uh,
Because to me, that's quintessential Star Wars, where you're just. I mean, yeah, some people like to focus more on the Jedi aspect and the light, the the saber and everything, but I really like the ship battles and everything like that. So
yeah, did you play any of the new Battlefronts?
I did play the first Battlefront a little bit, and I liked it. I don't remember why I didn't play it that much. I feel like I got it at a time where there were some other games that were getting my attention. It might have actually been Destiny 2 when I first got in Destiny 2, or Destiny 1. I mean, I'm trying to remember how long that game's been out.
Yeah,
I don't think there are really any other games besides Destiny.
Right. Hence why we have the podcast.
Exactly.
yeah.
That and Borderlands 3, which I still have never finished the campaign yet.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fun to talk about other games we're all into. Like, I saw there's a new Star Wars game coming out in 2 days.
On iOS?
On Steam, Jedi Fallen Order.
Steam. That's right. You did say Steam.
PlayStation also. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'm interested to see how that game does. I know there's a lot of issues with Battlefront with the loot box system, and I know they're not going to have that for this game. And it's solely like a single player campaign, which everybody's been begging for. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I see a lot of potential. I might pick it up, but I'm gonna wait a
Yeah.
little bit and see how reviews are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a game like this, especially if it's not multiplayer, might be worth waiting a little bit and see if the price comes down some.
Definitely, yeah. Like Black Friday, or wait a year and it comes down like half the price or
Yeah.
something. So definitely.
Well, cool. Tell us about Destiny, how you got into that, how you first found out about it, and then tell us like a kind of like an aha moment when you started playing it. What really got you hooked?
So yeah, so I've got quite the story then. Um, so the so I was hanging out with some friends in college, and they were talking about the game, and I had kind of seen like ads and stuff for it, and thought it looked really good. So I decided to pre-order the game with them, and we went to the GameStop midnight release, and which I had never done a midnight release, so this was like a big deal for me to go there. And so, hanging out with my college friends and pick up the game, I get it home, and the first big bummer for me was I didn't realize it was all online. So like I had to rearrange my whole room to make the make it work so I could be close to the Ethernet cord and stuff like that. And because how our college did the whole Wi-Fi thing was a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And so I played it maybe a couple days and ranked up a couple levels, and uh, I just wasn't digging it. So like I put it aside for a long time. Like I mean like probably 2.5 years. So got out of college, met my girlfriend, which is my wife now, and so I decided, man, I have this game. I'm gonna pick it up, just see what see if it's any good anymore. And so I started blowing through the campaign. I'm like, wow, why did I put this game aside? And so I went up and hung out with my uh, wife's family, and I was talking with my brother-in-law, which you guys have played with, Journey.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I'm talking to him about it. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I love the Crucible and stuff." And so we both started playing together, and that's how I started really getting into it. Was just at the end of Destiny One's life cycle.
I mean, a good time to come in because the game's fully built out at that point, right? So
Yeah,
you had a lot to do.
yeah. I mean, there was a lot of content. There was a lot of things like we didn't have all the weapons everybody else had and stuff, and we didn't do any of the raids. But like going through the campaign, playing the Crucible, it was a blast. And then they announced Destiny 2, and we're like, oh, this is gonna be cool. So then we
Yeah.
picked that up and just kept going.
Awesome. Well, you said you hadn't done the raids, but we even recently did some of the raids with you.
Yeah, which I
Your
really
first
appreciate. That was a blast. We did Vault of Glass and um,
Crota or
Crota. Yeah,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember that. That was a lot of fun.
yeah,
Is it kind of different experiencing those, I assume, compared to D2 raids?
yeah. I mean, they feel easier, and I mean, those are probably the easiest of the raids anyway. But
Yeah.
it, I was like, oh, I don't know why people were like, you see people in LFG like, know what you got to do and blah blah blah. You took like two or three people who'd never been through it, and we did it in half hour. It
I
was
know. There's something about those normal modes that they had in D1 that really lent them to being easier. You could carry a whole group if you needed because you also get unlimited revives.
yeah,
And I've talked about this probably before, but I just want to mention again, I would really love it in D2 if they made a call it normal, call it easy. But I really feel like the base level of the raids again should have unlimited revives because it will get more people in the raids just to experience, just to get their feet wet. And then don't have good rewards on that level, sure, that's fine. But at least you can experience the raid without having the stress of revive tokens.
yeah, like that. that would have been a perfect scenario for Crown of Sorrows. So like, because I remember, which this is my favorite raid, and probably like my favorite raid experience, just because of how long it took us to do it, but like how we all stuck together and did it. But if we had like unlimited revives, that would have been just like so much more helpful in us trying to just understand the, how the actual encounter worked.
Yeah, I agree. Well, hopefully one day.
In a galaxy far away.
As we bring Star Wars back into it. Destiny Star Wars edition.
You're welcome. I am to please.
What do you like to do most in the game? And what character are you?
Hunter.
What do you like to main?
Yeah, so I main Hunter. I really like the Hunter class. And honestly, here's another story for you. That's a complete, like, I don't want to say mistake, but like, I set up that character on D1 and, left it. And then I came back and started playing as a Hunter and was like, oh, this is kind of cool. So it was like an accidental, like, thing for me that I ended up still liking. So,
I like my Hunter. I just don't get around to play. He's my second favorite next to Warlock. I know what you mean, though. Sometimes you just go back and try it out again. And I almost considered switching in D2, but I stuck with Warlock.
Yeah.
I didn't always Titan. I used to Warlock.
Did you?
I started both Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 with Warlocks and ended up going Titan most of the time. And that's all I play anymore is really Titan.
I last season, I really wanted to get in on the whole Titan action just because of the one-eyed mask and wanted to use it in the Crucible. So I was really working on my Titan last season just for that.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things to do in the game. What are you enjoying the most these days? Not even necessarily what you're working on, because we can all talk about that, right? We're all grinding for annoying things here and there. But if you had a couple things that are your favorite to do in the game, what would you choose more than anything else?
Well, just before we hung out playing tonight, I played like 3 rounds of Gambit. I know Gambit's not a big thing for everybody, or a lot of people. I shouldn't say everybody, but man, I love Gambit. I can play that quite a bit. So that's one thing I really like in the game. And I really like, I'd say some like the PvE side. I really like the story, collectibles. Like I'm excited to get into the dungeon. I haven't done that yet, but the Shattered Throne was one of my favorite activities to do. Even though I don't have like a ton of clears, I really liked just going through that whenever somebody needed some help.
Yeah. I seem to remember, hearing that now that you like collectibles and the lore and stuff like that. I feel like even though they've added more in the game, nothing is quite like. Did you ever go after much of the ghosts or the what were the things called in the Dreadnought that you could go after? Do you remember Sin? Oh, geez. But anyways, the collectibles.
I can go look if you want.
Did you ever go after those much? I feel like those were a lot of fun going after all those.
The one thing I know I went after a lot in Destiny 1 was the ghosts, because they had those scattered all throughout like every activity and stuff like that. So I was really bummed when Destiny 2 came out and none of that was in the game. Like there was no ghosts lying about that you could just go up to and get, even though it was like a Grimoire card. But that type of stuff really was an enjoyment for me. I really liked pursuing that stuff.
Yeah, I like that stuff too. And by the way, they were called calcified fragments.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Those were fun chasing those down.
Yeah, I collected quite a few of those.
I was so late to that party. Unfortunately, I never got into collecting them. There's a lot I didn't do in D1 just because of my late to the party aspect. And I feel like right now, even though, I'm trying to keep up, I still feel like I'm way behind in D2 because there's so much to do.
There is, yeah.
I do. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I actually felt like I was caught up last season, and then like this season hit, and I feel like I'm just like, I don't know if it's just because I've been grinding so much, but I feel like I'm really behind the 8 ball this season.
It is a problem for them making us all feel like that this time around. I mean, we don't have to feel like that, but at the same time, it's like we enjoy the game. We want to go for these things. And there really is a feeling, especially when you see articles by like, I hate to say it, like he shouldn't influence people, but like it does when you see articles like this. Paul Tassi wrote an article saying like he's even not going to grind as hard next season for certain things. And so when he's saying it, and like I'm even kind of feeling that way, like I'm going for this title, and I'm pretty sure I'll be on track, because for me, getting the Master Nightfall was one of the huge bumps to get past. But once I did that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for Undying. But unless next season's is a little easier, I don't think I'm going to do this again.
I agree with you. And what bums me out is I really like the title chase. Not because I want to collect the titles. Like, it's cool to have all these titles. But it kind of gives me something every day when I log in the game. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going after the Chronicler title, so I need to, let's go chase some ghosts or some of the lore pieces and grind out this activity because I know it's going to give me a lore piece or give me something towards this title. And so that's kind of why I really gravitated towards the titles, because that gives me like a checklist or something to just work towards.
That is true. And I think it's been, there's always an ebb and flow, and they can never make the game perfect. There's always going to be too much to do or too little to do. It's hardly ever going to be exactly right for everyone, because different people have different expectations of what that means anyways. But I do feel like we don't want to feel burnt out this season. And then if next season there's less to do, which there undoubtedly has to be at least a little bit less to do compared to this season, then what are we going to feel like doing? Like, we're like, well, we already did all this grinding last season, and what did it lead to? Because not everyone got their titles. So are we going to feel like going through that hassle again? We really won't, unless we see that it's definitely easier than this time around.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of it has to do with, I think, like, I'm fine with them having titles that are, harder, like for the, streamers and stuff like that, where they can go for the flawless stuff. That stuff I just probably will never have, and I understand that. But like this Undying one is like, I'm like, oh yeah, I could probably do that. But then you start realizing, oh, I should be like 970 to get through the Master Nightfall so I can get the ship and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, I don't know if I'll actually hit that because, the drops and stuff. So I don't know. I'm anxious to see how next season looks as to, how they tweak it and make it easier, harder, what they, plan to do. But it's a bit trickier this season.
Hopefully Sen or whoever will have some good news for us in the next couple twabs of more information on next season, because I'm also anxious to see how the power progression will work. We know the artifact's going to reset, but we don't know if we're just going to keep the same base power level or if those are also going up. And all this will be interesting in how it relates to the Master Nightfalls and everything. So I really hope we hear, if not this coming Thursday, we're recording on a Wednesday, at least by the next Thursday, because they got to tell us fairly soon.
Yeah, you would think.
Sen, please have some good word for us soon.
I will definitely try. I am just a reader of words, not the maker.
Still make it happen. Yeah, we're all working on stuff. You're working on your stuff, Sin. You're still going to go for your title, as far as we can tell. Just push.
Yeah,
push
I'm trying. I'm trying every single day. I'm trying to get one more step closer to it. Earlier today, you and I worked a little bit on the strike, the grind for that. There's ability and grenade kills or melee kills that are class specific. And I got my first one of the Night Watch done. Started working on the second one. I did finish another Triumph for Undying, the one with the bow, the 100 bow and 100 to hand cannon kills. And in fact, during all of that, I finally got the Silicone Neuroma, which I never had from the Nightfall Strike for the Pyramidion that dropped. And I was like, oh, I don't think I've actually gotten that yet. That and Mindbenders. I haven't gotten Mindbenders yet either.
Okay, gotcha.
So, yeah, there's a lot. And this is like the perfect, time to say, this is how you can multitask and get a lot of this stuff done, because you're running these Nightfalls over and over for a purpose for these seasonal quests. And if you hadn't grinded out for the weapons, the Nightfall specific weapons before, it's a great time to do it, because now you're double dipping. It's double duty.
Yeah. I really like how there's a lot of things I don't like about the Ordeal Nightfalls. But there's a lot of things like I don't typically do the Nightfalls, so like the other night I was getting all these rewards from a Nightfall that I had never done before. I was like, oh, this is cool. I got an emblem, I got a weapon, or I got this, and I was like, this is kind of cool, like something a little different.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they should have had an emblem too for when you pass the Master Nightfall. Instead, you get a ship, and it's not even that cool looking ship.
Yeah,
that was a lost opportunity.
Just for the chase. Now, I did, as far as emblems are concerned, because I've been running Pyramidion so much, it looked like I got a couple of the variants to drop from doing them that I never had before. I didn't have the variants for the emblem for that.
Yeah, I used to run that Nightfall a lot back in the day, and I like it. But boy, with what they've added in with those champions, just make it just too much. There's a difference between. I was talking about this with some other people when we've completed the Master Nightfall last week. There's a difference between being difficult and challenging and just being a stupid bullet sponge that jukes you. Like it's just stupid that you have to like unload all of your clips of weapon if you're not exactly hitting it right, and especially when there's like 2 to 4 out at the same time, and they'll just be like going behind each other and you can't bring them down. It's just a waste of ammo, in my opinion. It's not even really like a challenge thing. It's just a stupid thing, if that makes sense.
I would agree.
Yeah, I agree too. In the shield, like tonight, the shield just kept popping back up like every 2 to 3 seconds, and we're like, how do you even shoot this?
Yeah, you just really have to just hit it hard with as soon as the shield comes down with like crazy DPS stuff, but then you're like, okay, no more ammo left.
Yeah, and I hit it with Blade Barrage, and Blade Barrage did nothing.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I like the idea in general, though. I do like how you have these champions where you have to hit them with certain things like anti-barrier or overload rounds. That's pretty cool. And they work pretty effectively on the 920, even the 950 level. It's just that 980 that gets a little intense.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about anything else that we've been doing in the game, but I did also want to bring up a fun little topic that came up in Discord, and I have actually 2 parts to it. I don't want to just talk about the one because that'll be a little limiting, but I'm kind of curious, and I can start off to give you an example, but how you guys have felt like one of the most fun times you've had with a build with your main character with a certain subclass. For example, for me, in the Forsaken days, when they had the Nova Bomb buffed up and with the Skull of Dire Ahamkara, even though you could say that was too OP and was too buffed up, I had a lot of fun with that build. I would go into strikes, go into the raids, and just knowing that you can get your super back really fast and just be hitting Nova Bombs here and there. And yeah, I guess you could have the argument like, well, then there's no skill, but like it's more than that. You still need to have certain skills if you want to take down certain yellow bars on up. But sometimes when you have these big groups of trash mobs, I don't want to shoot each one individually. I love having a Nova Bomb to just take out a big group, right? So you kind of just have that done. What about you, Sin? We'll start with you, and then we'll go to AR. Like, any favorite builds you've had either currently now or in the past?
Well, unfortunately, Titans were, as everybody likes to say, pretty useless prior to Shadowkeep. And with the changes that they made, you probably have a little bit more viability now with the Ward of Dawn. I haven't really played much around with different builds. I've been just chasing everything in the game except for a build in particular. For example, I'm right now using Armamentarium, that gives you the double grenade, because of all of this chase for grenade kills or ability kills, or solar, arc, or void. So I've been using that. I wouldn't mind, looking into maybe a little bit more effective builds. Otherwise, I think there's a new exotic that just came out this year that for a Hammer Titan, it allows your other party or other team members go through the sunspot, and apparently they get a buff. I don't know if that's effective or if anybody's really tried it out yet, but it'd be cool to kind of see how that works.
Yeah, I heard of that. Yeah,
but nothing like I've seen with the arc bat. Is it arc battery or arc coil? Thunder coil. The mod from the artifact using Thunder Coil and like a 1-2 punch. And I think hunters have the Liar's Handshake. I think there's an insane build using that combination, using melee abilities.
I feel like in the past, and maybe it was just in some of the raids like Eater of Worlds and whatnot, but weren't hammers kind of like OP for a long time? Did you ever have fun with those builds?
Yeah, I mean, I've always used hammers, nothing as far as equipment to go along with it. And I still enjoy hammers now. It's fairly effective for damage overall. I've been using a lot more Void than I had in the past, just because of Ward of Dawn being kind of the go-to now for a power enhancement, and since you can't stack them anymore. I've been using Void more because of that. With the suppressor grenades, I actually find it fairly fun, because then I can kind of choose if I don't need a bubble, I can have the option to go for a more offensive super.
Yeah, excellent. And then you, AR, any builds currently or in the past that you've really enjoyed?
Maybe in the past. This season I don't really have a great build, and I think that's because I've been scared about like putting together like armor sets and stuff that work together, because we keep on the whole power grind up to 960, so you're constantly switching between armor and stuff. So I really haven't focused on a build this season. I've used a lot of discipline mods for grenades. Lowers the recharge rate on them. So like every piece of my armor has a discipline mod, so I can just keep throwing them. I think the cooldown is like 30 some seconds. So, but in the past, I really liked running Tether and Orpheus rigs in the Reckoning. That was fun. Go across the bridge and you're just tethering things nonstop, orbs flying all over the place, take it and stuff falling all over the place. I don't know, it's just a blast. Like, I enjoyed that part of the Reckoning a lot.
Yeah. And you get your invis grenade with that too, of course.
And it depends on what I'm doing in Gambit, but like if I'm gonna be an invader, I'll run the 6-shot golden gun and go for invasions and stuff like that. And then PvP, it's shards typically.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's about the main builds I do. I don't know. I'm the type of person that likes complete armor sets, so I'll throw aside an exotic so I can have like all the cool armor from like one set. Like this year, I like the lunar set. I know a lot of people didn't like certain things about it, but I really like the hunter's one. So I'm not wearing it currently, but um, I might start upgrading all of that to 960.
Oh man, I agree. If that's kind of the last thing I would ask for with these ornaments is, could we please change the look of our exotics armor? Right?
Yeah,
That'd be so cool. And then we could have a complete looking set and still be wearing an exotic piece.
Yeah, that would make it nice, because a lot of these sets do look nice as they stand. I haven't really played a lot around with the looks of my Guardian as far as ornaments. There was a time where I was trying to do that and just kind of didn't matter what piece I was wearing, I just used all of the same ornament. So that way I would look halfway decent. But now that I've been chasing everything else, I've kind of been like, nah, I really don't care about that. Yeah. But it would be nice to have a nice looking set on and have a nice looking Guardian.
Bungie's doing the costume or contests or whatnot weekly, where they show like Guardians, the best dressed Guardians and stuff like that. That's been pretty cool.
Have you entered?
No. But I've seen some people on Twitter that are like, "Oh, I'm going home and I'm gonna change my Guardian up," like when they announce that, and they try to put together a really cool outfit. So I thought that was a pretty cool addition, and they're giving emblems for it too. So if you're an emblem chaser, that might be something to look into.
Yeah, that is nice. Gives people something to look forward to that's not grindy, that it's a challenge because not everybody can win, and it's something fun to do. It only takes a few minutes to kind of play around with it.
Yep. All right. And then one last thing I wanted to talk about, kind of a fun conversation, is we, jumps with different characters. Now, this may sound silly, like, what do we need to talk about with jumps? But I don't know, sometimes even when we're raiding with people or whatever, and someone jumps on a class that they're not used to, they're like, now what's the best jump again, right? Because like if you don't play Titan much, you might have to ask what the best jump is, or on Warlock or Hunter. And it's sometimes kind of fun just to talk about what the pluses and minuses are. So I will start with the Warlock, and we don't have to go in depth or anything, but I'll just kind of talk about what we have here. Now, overall, the best jump on Warlock is the Burst Glide. So that's just kind of the rule of thumb. If you're new to Warlock, you pick Burst Glide. Pluses and minuses with the Warlock jump. Well, as we know, it can be frustrating. It can be slow. You bump into things, and course correcting can take like 2 years to go back the direction you're trying to go. It's that horizontal left and right movement where you really have issues. But there's a lot of pluses too. I'd have to say, like, if you want to jump high and jump far, you can often beat at least hunters and sometimes even Titans with some of those distance. There's times in the raids or different areas where I can just jump past little scary jumping puzzle parts over to another ledge, and I don't have to actually land on the things in between. So it's pretty cool with Burst Glide. I'll just talk about the other ones really quick. I mean, there is Strafe Glide. Strafe Glide is good. I've seen people that use it actually in Whisper of the Worm. I can see it being good like when you're turning those tight corners, because it does actually give you that directional left and right control more so. So even though I say it's hard to go back and forth, you can get that with Strafe Glide, but it's still not so much extremely more that I feel like it's worth generally switching off of Burst. So if you can learn how to deal with your left and right movement, it's just good staying on Burst. And then they have the in-between one, the Bounce Glide, which just kind of seems like not worth it to me. Either you want to be on Burst 95% of the time, or try Strafe to see if that works for you. But anyone listening to this podcast, please let us know right in their Discord if you do Bounce Glide and like that one, and say there's a reason for it. That's pretty much all the jumps for Warlock, except there is one more on the Void class. There's the Blink. Now, Blink is the outlier, of course. Blink is the one where a lot of people, you pretty much only want to use it in PvP because you're not going to want to be using it on a jumping puzzle or something like that. That's the one, of course, you disappear for a little bit to your enemies, but also what you see on your screen is the whole field of view just get like 20 yards closer all of a sudden. So it can be pretty jarring of knowing where you need to land. There is, of course, the exotic helmet to help your blink work better so that you can keep your radar up while you're blinking and you can blink more often. The other thing about blink is there's a small cooldown each time you use it. So you can't just keep blinking. So blinking is interesting in PvP. It can help some. I mean, if someone's a good player, they're still going to be able to lock onto you, but it definitely can help in certain situations where like you're close to jumping behind a rock. And if you were just running, they would get you the rest of the way. But if you can blink behind the rock, you survive. I don't do blink too much. Anyone have experience with those that they want to add to Warlock, or if not, we can just move on that.
Well, the one thing that I would add is like when I first started out with my Warlock, I struggled with the jump because like the hunter, you press X and he jumps, and then you can press it again and he jumps again, but you can like wait a bit of time before you press a button and jump again, like to do the double jump. But then with like the Warlock, I had my brother-in-law like explain, because he's a Warlock. He's like, oh, you almost got to press X like right away, like do it twice, and then you can like float up higher and stuff. Because I would always like press X, wait, and then like fall or not make a jump or stuff like that. So like it was like quite the learning curve,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot that. I take that for granted, and you're right. Thanks for bringing that. You do need to always double jump, push the X twice right away if you're going forward or high, because you will not get that thing. It's kind of silly. It's almost like a push X twice to launch off. It's like it sets your rocket boosters going. Now, there are times you don't want to hit the X right away if you're jumping down or falling down. Then you actually want to just start falling and then wait to use one of your X's to kind of like slow you down until further down. Because if you use your X right away, then you'll have one less, jump to end it at the end. But yeah, good point. Other than falling down, you want to hit double X right away.
I had a mission when I first started out with the Warlock. This mission pretty much made me stop playing the Warlock for quite a while, because it was like a jump where you had to jump up to another, not like platform, but there was a distance between it, and like I just didn't understand that you had to press it twice in order to make that jump. So I was like trying everything, like my super and stuff like that, to get over there, and I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. But then once I figured that out, I was like, oh, these are a breeze. Like, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. So it's kind of nice to actually get that like experience with other subclasses.
Yeah. And if you're going straight up, don't move forward on the stick at all at first. Like hit the double X really fast till you get a good amount of height, and then start pushing forward. Because if you push forward too quickly, you won't get the height that you need.
Yeah.
Well, cool. AR, tell us about hunter jumps however you want.
So I run the triple jump all the time, and that's basically you jump and then you press X and then you can jump again. And I use that for everything, and it seems to get me by just fine. It doesn't lend for directional control, so like it's not good for readjusting if you're like in PvP. I know a lot of people run the strafe jump there, because you can go left or right and make changes very quickly. But the triple jump I use all the time. The strafe jump I barely use, even though I play a lot of PvP. I just am too lazy to switch to it. And then there's the high jump, which you can extend, like it makes your jump go just really high. Like you press X and you jump really high. And there's a exotic out there for jumping for hunters that enhances your jump. And I know for forever, I couldn't get this one chest on the Dreaming City. It was up really high, and I think it's one of the regional chests. And so I was like trying everything. You try out, like I was messing, I finally figured out you mess with your mobility. Like I got that up to 9. I used the high jump and I used the stompies. And I finally got the chest, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. There's actually a place for this." Like because I was like, "Why would I always use this jump?" And I kind of, just threw that one off to the side because I was like, "Oh, I'll never use that," but it's actually useful. I switch to that every now and then when I'm hunting for collectibles that are in weird locations and stuff like that. So I think that jump was made for hunters for those specific reasons.
That's good to know. I've had problems with my hunter with the triple jump trying to get high before. Now, with the high jump, I assume it's not a triple. Is it a double then, or what do you?
Yeah, so I think it's just a double. It's not, yeah, it's not like the triple at
Okay,
all.
but you can still, in theory, get higher because it's a high jump.
Yeah,
I guess is what they're okay. That's good to know. It's really good to know.
yeah, I would definitely say if you're struggling with getting collectibles or stuff that are up really high, mess with the mobility, wear the stompies, try the high jump and stuff like that. It took me forever to realize the importance of it, but I would definitely recommend that to people.
What do you feel like are just any pluses or minuses in overall with the hunter class and jumping? I mean, I feel like there's big pluses getting out of danger easily, especially. I mean, I guess a dodge isn't technically a jump, but that certainly helps.
I think a dodge paired well with a jump can really save a hunter in PvP and even PvE. Like there's constant times where I dodge, so I'm like going off to the right, I dodge, and then I jump in the air, and it confuses the opponent really quickly. And so I find that that's like something that that's a really big bonus, is like just pairing that up well.
Whenever I'm with a team, like we're in a strike or something, and we're both down, and I see a hunter still alive, and especially if he has invis, I'm like, okay, we might be okay here because he can just dodge out of the way and survive. Even though we're both dead.
Yeah, I get a little cocky with the invisible sometimes. Like I'm like in like menagerie, like I'll see somebody and I'll be like, all right, I'm going invis, and I'll walk right out there, right where that person like got mowed down 3 seconds earlier, and revive them. But like the invisible is such a crutch, like in really desperate moments. Like it's just, or not crutch. It's such a clutch thing to use in big moments like that when you need to get somebody up and you're in one of these nightfalls that's really difficult. I think it's a really nice item.
Clutch, crutch, it's all the same.
It's all the same. I guess you could say it's a crutch too. I mean, that's what I miss most about when I'm not playing on my hunter is like there's so many times if my health is down to like 10%, I'm like, okay, I'm probably not getting out of this situation because the warlock moves so freaking slow. But if I knew if I was on my hunter, I could maybe get out of the situation still and stay alive. Yeah. You can't put a well down when you're at 10%. It's too late. That's the other thing. The well takes so freaking long to drop. It always has to be preventative. It can't be like an after the fact situation.
Yeah, so I've noticed that with the limited amount of time I've played with the warlock, it's like if you think that something's gonna happen, you throw it down, and then you use it. But if you throw it down after you've taken a few shots, it's
already
really
too late usually.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we don't need to talk about Titans because Titans suck. So let's move on. No, Sin. Please tell us about what is so special about your Titan jump.
I don't know. I mean, you said Warlock has strafe lift.
Yes, that is one of the options. Mm-hmm.
That is the one I use all the time on Titan. It gives me the best control, and I seem to be able to sprint around pretty quick with it, and it's pretty agile. It gives you jump around airborne to activate lift and launch into the air with a strong initial burst of momentum. I'm sorry. That's a different one. Jump while airborne to activate lift and launch into the air with strong directional control. It also has catapult, which gives you a strong initial burst of momentum. That one is, it's okay. I guess it could be an alternative to strafe if you didn't like strafe. And then you have a high lift, which gives you a little bit higher jump for, those places that are a little bit out of reach or you can't really mantle up to.
So do you just use that also like in the raids or the chests or things like that?
I typically don't switch off because, one, I'm lazy and I hate doing it because then I'll end up switching it and forget to switch it back, which is frustrating at some points when you forget to do that. But I think, overall, I think strafe lift is probably the ultimate go-to just because it's going to be the best all around without having to actually switch it and, to move back and forth. So.
Yeah, and I feel like the Titan jump is pretty cool. Like where you could say like the Warlock floofs too much, you can almost say the Hunter drops down too quickly, but the Titan almost seems like a good middle ground jumper.
Yeah, I mean,
any like downsides to the Titan jumper?
No, I mean, I think it is that porridge. It is just right.
Why am I saying this, Sin? Why am I saying that the Titan jump is good? I'm just feeding into you.
Well, I mean, technically, the Warlock has the same one. You just don't use it.
It's not the same, though, because there's other flippy things that are going on.
I know. It just sounds right.
It does. And I've heard from other people, too. Yeah, strafe is the way to go on Titan. So,
yeah, I would agree with the strafe. I use that on my Titan. And I really think the Titan jump feels like middle ground between the Warlock and the Hunter. I feel like those are the extremes, and then the Titan's kind of in between that.
The Hunter is like the Mario jump. He goes ear, like it goes up and down. And the Warlock's like float in the air for 10 minutes, and then the Titan eats crayons in the corner.
Coolest thing with the Warlock in the jump is I don't know what the exotic's called, but the one with the wings where you can stay in the air. That's pretty cool. I thought that was I thought when Destiny 1 or Destiny 2 came out, I was like, oh, that exotic's cool, but I don't know how you'd fashionably use that. But then the more and more I was playing as Warlock, I was like, this is cool. Like, I can be in the air and shooting, and I don't know. I thought that was really cool. That's a cool exotic.
Yeah, maybe not so good for PvP, but PvE could be good. I gotta try that some more. I just thought it was kind of gimmicky at the beginning, and everyone was running it because it was the first exotic you got or something like that. And so I kind of got sick of it. And then I remember I played Anthem some, and there was a similar thing where I played the character where you could stay up in the air and kind of float and shoot things. And that was so fun. So, you reminded me, I'm going to have to try out Wings of Sacred Dawn again. That's what they were called.
So here's a question for you. Have you ever seen somebody else wear it and the cool effect it makes?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, like I never noticed that before. And then like we were playing Gambit and I was talking with my brother-in-law and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, so I sent him a picture and he's like, oh, that is sweet. Like, there's, I don't know, just those little details sometimes about the game that I really like. Like the exotic itself, like you look at it, it's kind of cool, but then when you get playing with it and it's, how it lights up and those type of things, like there's a exotic for the Hunter where like there's something like crawling on the arm. I don't know which one it is because I don't use it that often, but I don't know, just those little details is really cool to me.
It is, and that reminds me of one other thing, probably one of the coolest unique jumps paired with the super of anything in the game is the Warlock Top Tree Dawnblade with Icarus Dash. I've used that for those fun cheeses where you can go across the map. Like if we're exploring some area, you wait for your super to build up, you pop your super and you spam the circle button, and you will go not just forward, but up for like 500 yards. And you can jump across the largest chasms ever and get into crazy areas.
Sweet.
Now, do you, I saw Chevy and Glad running, and they were, I believe Chevy is, I believe both of them were Warlocks actually, but Chevy and one of the forest runs that they were doing, they were basically speed running the map, and they were trying to get, I guess, as far as possible. He was using Worldline Zero and a Hunter. Now, is there anything specific with Worldline Zero, or is it just Worldline Zero in general that you can basically speed through?
I don't know myself. I know what those sword jumps, I believe the way that they work is you're kind of going straight out, but you do tilt down just a little teeny bit, so you're not going to be able to go forward forever, even if you had the ammo for it. But they are pretty cool. The Icarus Dash, you actually can end up going upwards. But I know that the sword jumps are more useful in general if you know how to do them right. I hear they're also a little bit harder to learn to do some of those speed runs. I don't know myself how they work exactly. I never did that in D1 either, where you would use the sword to jump across the bridge the cheese way in Crota, because I started playing Crota afterwards and did it the legit way after they patched it.
Right.
I haven't tried it either with the sword. That
we don't cheese here.
Enough. Yeah.
we only cheese Riven. We don't cheese anything else. Oh, man. Well, good topic. Thanks, guys, on that. Anything else we're working on the game, or we want to talk about in the game right now?
Man, I think a lot of it's just grind, and at least I've said it, week after week. It's the grind that's there in front of me. I talked about a lot that I've already accomplished. I'm just basically slowly chipping away at the Undying title.
But I am looking forward to, I know the grind is one thing, and I do it because I want this title, but I am also looking forward to, at least we have one other big thing. We have the Vex Offensive Final Assault coming next week. Whatever that means. We at least know the Undying Mind. We've talked about it a little bit on and off. Hopefully it'll be something big. But whatever it is, at least it's something to look forward to.
Truth.
I agree. I'm anxious to see what the storyline with Ikora and this Vex portal at the tower is going to be, because I think she forgot about the whole Cabal thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works next week if it's finished, or how that'll that whole storyline plays out this season.
Which, if you look this week, it doesn't even look that finished. We were talking about this earlier, but she has a lot of work to do to have it finished by next week.
Yeah, I agree. We know construction is slow.
Yes, yeah. But Bungie will say, due to Ikora taking too long, the final assault will be pushed back 2 weeks. No, I don't think that'll happen, but yeah. Well, great. Unless we have anything else, I'll start moving into our housekeeping section. But yeah, we have a lot to look forward to. Hopefully we'll know more about the next seasons coming up soon, and keep having fun things to do in the game.
Housekeeping.
We're going to do a little housekeeping, AR, and then we have a bonus question for you at the end.
Okay.
But for housekeeping, we do have a couple new reviews this week, Sin. 2 new podcast reviews.
Heck yes.
They both are 0 stars for you and 5 stars for me.
Fantastic. I'll take it.
Now, we have one by Rocket Mraz, and he said, I love the show. Great guests every time and fantastic conversations. Whether it be Destiny related or off topic, it's entertaining and fun every episode. Thank you, Rocket Mraz, for that 5-star review. We really appreciate it. And then one other review by Glaive2K. 5 stars. Kingsley ran a dungeon with me, and he seems like a nice guy. He pointed me to this podcast, and I like it. Okay, I shouldn't even be reading this. It sounds too much like self-promotion. Sorry about that, guys.
That's what I heard.
We can also say Sin ran a dungeon with me, and he seems like a nice guy because Sin runs lots of dungeons also. No, but thanks, Glaive. We really appreciate that. I do remember playing that with you, and thanks for listening to the show.
Yes, thank you both.
As always, everyone, please leave us reviews. It helps us get found. You can rate us fairly, whatever you feel is you want, anywhere from 1 to 5 stars. But if you write a message with it, we will read it on the air. And we do have, we'll just say this now, we have our lovely Discord where we have fun conversations in there, anything from Destiny to food, to topics about boomers, to topics about whatever else. So feel free and join there and have fun. You know, it started as a great place to just hang out with all of us that knew each other and find people to play with. And it is still a great place for people to find people to play with. Not a guaranteed LFG, but we please ask that you join, and you'll most likely find some great people to play with. All right, it doesn't look like we have any other housekeeping. So as we get to the lovely end of our show this evening, AR, if you would please let us know one of your favorite desserts.
It's tough. Desserts. I like cheesecake. Yeah, I don't eat that often, but cheesecake is one of the top items that I would go for.
That sounds excellent. Any kind of what would be
toppings,
some flavors? Yeah, you got to tell us what flavors you would like with that.
So I'm gonna be really disappointing, but the one thing I'm very plain with stuff all the time. So I would just like a regular cheesecake. It doesn't have to have strawberry on it, or I'm not a big fan of chocolate, but just the plain cheesecake, that's where it's at for me.
That's solid. And have you been to Cheesecake Factory?
I haven't.
Ooh.
They have more than cheesecake.
I know, but I'm just wondering, can compare that compared to other ones. Well, you will have to make that a goal. Maybe we can have a meetup sometime and we will take you to Cheesecake Factory.
That'd be sweet.
Excellent. Cheesecake is good. I like a good cheesecake. We have a Cheesecake Factory nearby, and I'll get one every once in a while.
Cool.
Even have pineapple upside down cheesecake, right, Sin? We can combine it all together.
That's a thing.
It is a thing. At Cheesecake Factory, it really is.
Solid. What are your guys' favorite desserts?
I like carrot cake and pineapple upside down cake.
Candy.
Cotton candy.
Dude,
cotton you probably got a lot of it.
I was just thinking, man, I have candy somewhere in the house. Where do we hide it from the kids? But yeah, I mean, I'm actually one of my favorites is tiramisu.
That is very good.
Yeah, nice. What are they called? Lady fingers, and that coffee flavoring in it. Yeah. It is excellent. It's a good dessert.
Yeah. Well, excellent. We always love our dessert talk here, and we're keeping a list of all the things we need to try out. Well, as we end our show, we want to thank you so much for coming on, AR. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been great having you in our group, and we've been wanting you to get on the show for a while too. So thanks for coming on tonight.
No problem. Thank you so much for bringing me on. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to the community.
Yeah. So if people want to find you, I mean, you're in our Discord, but do you have any other contact information you want to give out?
Yeah, so besides the Discord, anybody can find me there. I play on the PlayStation. My Twitter handle is ARUECK16.
Excellent.
And that's the other spot that you can find me at.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll have that in our show notes. All right. Sin, where can people find you?
They can find me typically once a week on twitch.tv/Sin Media. Sin is CYN. And on Twitter at Sin_media. And over at Destiny Digest, typically covering the TWAB at Destiny_digest on Twitter. Kingsley.
Yes. Well,
I'm just going to leave
sure
that awkward silence right in there, just for something different.
It may be awkward to you, but it was not awkward to me. I was enjoying every blank second of it. Wait, what? Is that even a thing?
That's a thing. That's a thing.
Anyways, yeah, you can find me as Kingsley Mac on PlayStation or on Twitch, and you can find me as MC Kingsley on Twitter. And then you can find our show, The Guardian Hub, at theguardianhub.com and on Twitter as The Guardian Hub. Well, again, thanks for tuning in this week. Thank you very much. We will catch you next week. And for now, have a good one. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ooh la la.
I don't think AR wants to leave.
Oh, goodbye.
You could stay with us.